Hi everyone, this is Gerva, a musician, clarinetist and composer. This is a series of videos in which I'm gonna approach certain topics that concern musicians, both from classical world and popular world or jazz or whatever genre. So before going to the topic of the progression of fifths that I was gonna speak about, I have a piece of advice for you, which is forget metronome and try start practicing with backing track, a percussion backing track. You can find plenty of them in YouTube. You can do them yourself in the computer, and I believe this can really help you to feel the groove, even if you play Mozart, even if you're practicing Brahms, no matter what. But to feel the groove, to have a musical bass, tick tock from metronome is not a really musical device, I would call it. And also to feel every part of the beat, not only just the downbeat, but the upbeat and many other parts of the beat, which can give you very nice musical support. And I think it's a very useful tool for practicing, also for composing, even if it's not gonna be the final percussion that you're gonna use, to have some kind of groove when you think about music, when you practice music, whatever. Okay, let's go to the fifth progression. So let's first review the triads based on each degree of the scale, the diatonic triads. We're gonna take now C major for C instruments or D major for B flat instruments. It sounds like this. So this gave us major, minor and diminished triads. So now on top of each of them we're gonna add a diatonic third from the fifth, or a diatonic seventh from the root. This will give us arpeggios with 4 different qualities: major 7, dominant, minor 7, and minor 7 flat 5 or half diminished. It sounds like this. Composers already in the Baroque period, and later on a lot of Mozart and Haydn and many other composers, started to use a progression which is much more interesting than going from the first degree to the second to the third. This progression is moving by fifths below or fourths above. So if we do this exercise of seventh arpeggios in this fashion, it sounds like this. So we can also practice the same exercise, but not starting from the root, from another note, from the third, from the fifth. This is an exercise that I recommend, especially to start thinking not on the name of the notes, but on the chord and in which note of the chord are we. This is very helpful to start thinking how many jazz musicians think. from very early times, but also in the 19th and 20th century, especially then, composers started to explore different variations that they could do to that progression in order to spice it up a little bit. So one of the most common in the early times would be to dominize the chord based on the third degree of the scale. So if we are in C major, then the third degree, instead of be a E minor 7, it will become a E dominant or E7. So it would lead us better to the sixth degree, which is a minor one, and it sounds like this. It is also a very common habit, especially in jazz music, to dominize the chord based on the sixth degree of the scale. So if we are in C major, our sixth degree is A minor 7, but instead we would play A dominant. So A with the major third, and it sounds like this. So we have many other options of how to spice up or put some color to our fifth progression. We can dominize the chords based on the fourth degree, on the seventh degree. Also the second, it's less common, but we can do so. In the next example, I'm gonna use dominance on the chords based on the fourth, the seventh, and the sixth. Sounds like this. So this is what we call secondary dominance or borrowed dominance, and this can also help us when composing to lead us to certain other sonority that we can go to another key. So dominizing, it's a very helpful tool for composition to lead us to somewhere else. Dominant chords have a strong drive to lead us somewhere. I would say this exercise, it's very important to do in all keys, also in minor ones, and through all the range of your instrument, and changing as many chords as you want, but knowing what is the sonority and what kind of color you are adding to your progression. So in this last example, what I'm going to do is to add one more third, diatonic third, on top of each arpeggios. this would correspond to the ninth counting from the root, right? So this is a very common color that we use in jazz, although we usually not use only the diatonic ninth, but sometimes the flat nine, the sharpened nine, and so on. The only exception I'm doing is for the fifth degree. I'm gonna use a flat nine, and you will feel this kind of color from gypsy jazz, bebop sound. It's a very common sound over a dominant chord to use a flat nine. So it sounds like this. So thanks so much for watching. I hope it was helpful and useful. And next lesson we are going to cover the whole circle of fifths, not diatonically. So we're going to go through every perfect fifth, and we're going to explore some flat 9, flat 5 arpeggios that can be useful for composing, for improvising, for whatever. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.